everyone, and welcome back to the Messy Bookshelf. Today, since it is the return of the Gilmore Girls, I decided it was the perfect day to do the Gilmore Girls book tag. I don't have anything really planned for this. I kind of just pulled up the questions from, whose channel is this? YA Bookworm Blogger. I will link her video down below. And I'm just going through her description and reading it off. So the way the tag works is they take characters from the show and they tell their personalities, and then you have to talk about characters or books based on the show's characters. So the first character is Lorelai, and this is a character with a witty or sarcastic sense of humor. For this one, I am going with Mark Watney from The Martian. If you haven't watched the Martian movie or read the Martian book, you really should get on it. This was such a fantastic read, and Mark Watney was such a hilarious character to read and watch on screen, and the character is just so hilarious. The book was so well written, and the science isn't even that confusing, so I would definitely check it out if I were you. The next character is Rory, and this is a favorite classic. Now, one of my all-time favorite books just happens to be considered a classic, and this is A Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. A lot of people really hate on this book because all Holden Caulfield does through the entire thing is whine and moan and complain. But I loved him for that. I loved this book. I thought it was just so well written, and the main character, yeah, he was annoying and complained about every little thing, but he told it like it was. And everyone's a phony. The third character is Luke, and this is a book you secretly love but are afraid to admit. So this one was kind of difficult, so I'm going to go with Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. Lena Dunham tends to get a lot of hate because she's kind of controversial in the media's eyes, but I love her for that, and I love her show, and I thought her book was really good, but it gets a lot of hate, so sometimes it's hard to admit when you love a book when it gets a lot of hate. The next character is Lane, and this is a musical character, and the first character that popped in my head was Mia from If I Stay. Mia plays the cello, and I just kind of got so engrossed in this book. I started it at like 10:30 at night, and I could not sleep until I had it finished. It was just so amazing, and the movie was so well done, and it really made me fall in love with classical music. The next character is Dean, and this is your first book love. I'm guessing this means the first book that kind of like got you into reading, and the one that really comes to mind for me as of late is 13 Reasons Why. 13 Reasons Why was kind of the first book that I picked up in my adult years that kind of got me back loving books. Like, I loved books my entire life. If I really were going to talk about the first thing that made me fall in love with books, I would have to say the Little Critter series from like when I was a little toddler, but in my most recent memory it would be 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. The next character is Suki, and this is a book that you devoured, and I am going to go with A Court of Mist and Fury. This book was massive. This is such a huge and heavy book, but I took 2 or 3 sittings and I just devoured page after page, and it was such an amazing read, and I loved every moment of it. The next one is Jess, and this is a book that you love that gets the most hate. And again, I'm having a lot of trouble thinking of something, because a lot of the books that I love don't tend to get hated on. At least not to my knowledge. I guess A Catcher in the Rye, but I've already technically used it, but considering it's Jess, I'm just gonna use it again. The next one is Miss Patty, and this is a book that was ruined by the hype. And And for me, I have to go with Yes Please by Amy Poehler. This book had a lot of hype behind it, and Amy Poehler's fantastic, but her book just was not for me. The next character is Emily Gilmore, and this is an expensive book. And I don't own a whole lot of expensive books, but the most expensive book that I own is probably my Harry Potter Page to Screen. It's a book that came out, and basically it gives you all the details on how they took Harry Potter from the books and made it work for the movie screen. And although I've sat down and flipped through it, I haven't actually dived into it and read it, but it's super big and really intimidating, and it's one of those books that you kind of just sit down and it's like, oh, I'll just like read like a page or two and see how it is. It's like a coffee table book maybe. It's not like a leisure reading type book. And the last character is Paris Geller, and this is an uptight character. So for an uptight character, I am going with Lissa from the Vampire Academy series. I haven't actually finished the series, but I've read the first 3 books and most of the 4th, and I really do enjoy the friendship between Rose and Lissa. Rose is her name, right? Yes, Rose and Lissa. And Lissa was very uptight compared to Rose. Like, I can understand why, because she had a lot of weight on her shoulder, being the last in her line and being the next in line to be princess of the vampires. So I can understand why she was uptight, but she was pretty uptight. So that is it for the Gilmore Girl tag. Are you planning on checking out A Year in the Life when it comes out today? Because this will be going up tomorrow, which is Friday, Black Friday. Did they plan this? They had to. Anyway, let me know down below if you're planning on watching the new Gilmore Girls. What would your answers be? Are you team Jess, Dean, or Logan? If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, and if you want to see more content, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye! I just ate it all up.